In the vast cosmic tapestry of our universe, there are mysteries that have remained hidden for generations, secrets that have eluded even the most brilliant minds. But what happens when those secrets are suddenly unveiled, when the cosmic curtains are pulled back to reveal a truth that shakes the very foundation of our understanding of the cosmos? Join us on this epic journey of discovery as we unravel how the legendary astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson is presently panicking over the recent declassified photos from Venus by the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union crumbled, it didn't just reshape world politics, it also buried a trove of hidden mysteries. Renowned for their enigmatic ways, advanced spy agencies, and whispers of potential extraterrestrial encounters, the Soviets left behind a cloak of intrigue. Before the United States claimed the lion's share of space endeavors, the Soviets were the trailblazers. Their profound fascination centered on Venus, which they affectionately called Venera in their native tongue. The Venera missions embarked on an odyssey from 1961 to 1983, a period when the US had its eyes fixed firmly on the moon. But the Soviets charted a different course, pooling their resources toward Venus. The precise allure of Venus to the Soviet Union remains shrouded in mystery. Some speculate they might have harbored ambitions of converting its surface into a military outpost, or perhaps dreams of colonizing this celestial neighbor. Given that these missions unfolded amidst the icy tension of the Cold War, the Soviets maintained a tight veil over their true intentions. Much of our knowledge about the Soviet missions to Venus has recently emerged from classified documents, shedding light on their secret objectives. These missions were not mere one-off endeavors. In fact, the Soviets embarked on an ambitious series, launching a staggering total of 28 spacecraft into the mysterious realm of Venus. Out of these, 13 boldly penetrated Venus's atmosphere, with an impressive 8 making triumphant landings. These endeavors marked the Soviets as true pioneers in the realm of space exploration. While the United States, under NASA's guidance, focused predominantly on satellites and technological advancements, the Soviet Union set its sights on the possibility of life beyond Earth. What sets the Soviet space program apart are its remarkable firsts. They boldly sent a probe into the uncharted atmosphere of a planet other than our own, a daring feat that no one had attempted before. Moreover, they achieved the inaugural soft landing on an alien world, a momentous triumph in the history of space exploration. Their pioneering spirit even led them to execute the very first mission to capture images and sounds from the enigmatic surface of another planet. Intriguingly, despite these groundbreaking accomplishments, the exploits of the Soviet space program have primarily remained in the shadows of history, rarely mentioned or celebrated. The Soviet space program was shrouded in secrecy, and when it shut down in 1992, a significant load of its historical records went missing or were intentionally destroyed. This murky past is a significant reason why we're still uncertain about why they sent so many spacecraft to Venus. The Soviets might have seen Venus as an economically sound target for exploration. Nevertheless, they were genuinely enthusiastic about the possibility of discovering water, measuring the strength of solar radiation, and comprehending the overall conditions on the planet. Without these numerous missions to Venus, we would have had an incredibly tough time comprehending its extreme climate and dense atmosphere. Today, many scientists question whether this scorching world could ever support life. Its temperatures are so scalding that they could liquefy lead, and water is a rare commodity there. Imagine this. Venus, our neighboring planet, has an air pressure a whopping 90 times heavier than what we feel on Earth. Now, let's not forget about the USSR's remarkable role in unveiling Venus's mysteries. Venturing into the realm of Venus was not just a whim, it was a strategic move in the space race. The Soviets did ponder over the allure of planets like Mars, but the price tag was astronomical compared to poking around Venus. Here's the kicker. Venus is practically our cosmic next-door neighbor, a mere 40 million kilometers away from us, while Mars is like that elusive friend who lives 250 million kilometers down the space highway. When the United States was still finding its footing on the global economic stage, the idea of venturing to Mars seemed like a far-off dream. Whispers circulated that the Soviet missions faced a slew of technical troubles, casting doubt on their reliability. Their spacecraft, ill-suited for vast cosmic journeys, often lost touch with their mission control. It's no wonder the Soviets turned their sights to Venus, closer and more promising. Yet, to understand these Venus missions, we must grasp the backdrop, the intense space race. When the Soviet program launched the pioneering artificial satellite Sputnik in 1957, it jolted the world. This single act turned a simmering rivalry between superpowers into a full-blown geopolitical showdown. Following World War II, both the US and the Soviet Union were fixated on asserting dominance in every realm, including space. The Soviets swiftly achieved remarkable successes. In 1958, President Dwight Eisenhower signed the National Aeronautics and Space Act, igniting the American space race and the birth of NASA. This pivotal moment ushered in a united American effort in space exploration, asserting their prowess. These pivotal events left an indelible mark on the celestial quests we witness today. Both nations, driven by a hunger for a groundbreaking moment, sought to seize the lead in the thrilling race to the stars. In 1969, NASA pulled off an incredible feat by landing on the Moon, a momentous achievement that added another feather to their cap. However, not everyone was convinced. There were skeptics, including Soviet space experts, who boldly asserted that the United States had staged the moon landing merely to uphold its dominance in the space arena. Interestingly, the US had a rocky start in the 1960s with its Venus missions, which came to be known as the Venus Curse. These missions, aimed at exploring Venus, were plagued by a string of failures. Seizing this opportunity, the Soviet Union decided to shift its focus to Venus, hoping to gain an edge over NASA. Both nations were locked in a fierce competition, determined to emerge victorious in the space race. The Soviet space program set its sights on achieving what its American counterparts had faltered at. Despite facing resource constraints and bouts of mismanagement, they strictly launched mission after mission to Venus, all in a bid to showcase their supremacy. Meanwhile, NASA chose to concentrate its efforts on moon missions, aiming to secure their own triumph in this high-stakes race for space dominance. The Soviets, with their remarkable resourcefulness, tapped into their formidable launching capabilities. In those early years, they crafted and sent colossal spacecraft soaring into the heavens, pushing the boundaries of altitude and distance. These missions, both manned and unmanned, rode on the shoulders of four-stage rockets and advanced telemetry systems. The Soviets, pioneers of their time, were propelling their spacecraft to uncharted heights. We mustn't forget that in the 1950s, technology for space exploration was still in its infancy. Landing on other planets was a lofty ambition, yet the USSR remained steadfast in its pursuit of excellence. Even the dense Venusian atmosphere couldn't deter them. Their maiden venture into Venus's enigmatic atmosphere, Venera 1, embarked on its interplanetary flight on February 12, 1961. Weighing a staggering 1,400 pounds, it was a testament to Soviet prowess in spacecraft engineering. It was a far cry from the days of Sputnik 1, which weighed a mere 184 pounds. This monumental leap in both scale and technology left the world in awe. No wonder the United States felt a twinge of apprehension at the Soviets' audacious penetration into space. Venera 1 was an extraordinary sight to behold, a symbol of the relentless spirit of exploration that defined the space age's early days. Sadly, Venera 1 didn't quite live up to the hype. The first attempt to launch the probe was a disaster as it failed to break free from Earth's gravitational pull. The second official launch attempt, on February 12, 1961, had its fair share of ups and downs. But here's the silver lining. The probe did manage to swing by Venus in May 1961, becoming the first ever space mission to pull off such a remarkable feat. When Venera 1 finally landed on the fiery surface of Venus, it was about 62,000 miles away from home, or roughly 100,000 kilometers. Unfortunately, it couldn't send any data back to the Soviets. We might call Venera 1 a bit of a flop, since it didn't achieve its intended mission. But even in the modern era, you've got to give it credit for embarking on such a daring voyage into the great unknown. This was all before the successful missions of Venera came into play, rewriting the history books of space exploration. Our knowledge about Venus's atmosphere was quite limited, which posed a challenge for missions like Venera 2. This lack of information likely contributed to Venera 2's inability to achieve remarkable success. It followed a similar design to its predecessor, with the goal of conducting a flyby of Venus. recording critical data and transmitting it back to Earth before returning. The launch of Venera 2 on November 12, 1965, was met with high expectations. It successfully completed its flyby around Venus on February 27, 1966, coming within about 15,000 miles of the planet, which was an improvement over previous attempts. However, despite this progress, Venera 2 encountered a familiar problem. A malfunction in the radiator system caused overheating, leading to a loss of trajectory. Sadly, on March 4, 1966, the mission had to be declared lost due to the absence of viable data. The Soviet scientists recognized the urgency of resolving the overheating issue for the upcoming missions, namely Venera 3 to Venera 6, all scheduled for the end of 1966. The earlier missions, including Venera 3, had already provided valuable insights into the challenging conditions on Venus. These insights prompted necessary modifications to subsequent probes. Although Venera 3 was intended to make a smooth landing, it ended up crashing into the planet, marking another setback for the USSR's Venus exploration efforts. Despite the daunting challenges posed by the Cold War and financial difficulties, the Soviet Space Agency clung to its unwavering determination for success. Their persistence would ultimately bear fruit, albeit in a manner far from the conventional success story. Venera 4, although succumbing to Venus's scorching heat and thick atmosphere, valiantly endured for 90 minutes, managing to amass a trove of invaluable data before succumbing to the planet's oppressive embrace. This data revealed startling insights. Venus's air was teeming with alarmingly high levels of carbon dioxide, and the planet was devoid of a protective magnetic field. Following the modest triumph of Venera 4, many expected the USSR to redirect its efforts elsewhere. After all, Venus, with its elevated levels of greenhouse gases, appeared inhospitable to life. However, the Soviet Space Agency was not prepared to concede defeat just yet. In the years that followed, the space program boldly launched Venera 5 and Venera 6, marking significant strides in their audacious mission. Both probes valiantly transmitted data for nearly an hour while descending through Venus's thick, suffocating atmosphere. A cause for jubilation. This newfound information unveiled the full intricacies of the planet's atmospheric composition. Regrettably, it also confirmed what had already been named the hellish planet. Venus, with its extreme temperatures, suffocating atmospheric pressure, and air unfit for breathing, shattered all hopes of habitability for the Soviet Union. Yet surprisingly, the Soviet fascination with Venus took an unforeseen twist. Even after acknowledging the planet's inhospitability, the USSR couldn't relinquish its infatuation. Classified documents and hidden snapshots from the Venera missions reveal a remarkable shift in the Soviet Space Agency's objectives. It appears that after Venera 5, the Soviets might have abandoned their quest for Venusian life, but embarked on a fresh journey, delving into the mysteries of potential extraterrestrial life forms on the enigmatic planet. Their grasp of Venus surpassed ours until 2021, when our knowledge about Venus and the prospect of alien life was still in its infancy. Perhaps the Soviets were patiently awaiting technological advancements to align with their groundbreaking discoveries. Then, with the triumphant landings of Venera 7 and Venera 8 on Venus, the Soviet space program elevated its ambitions to a new zenith, etching its significance into the annals of interplanetary exploration. Despite numerous hurdles along their interstellar path, these missions managed to unveil breathtaking glimpses of Venus's enigmatic surface. These newfound revelations thrilled the Soviets immensely. They redirected their focus from attempting to breathe life into Venus, a seemingly impossible task, to seeking traces of existence on a planet often overlooked by other space agencies, such as NASA. While NASA achieved its fair share of milestones with missions to Venus during the 1980s, its primary focus remained on lunar exploration. Conversely, the Soviet space program harbored a sense of optimism in its quest to uncover signs of life within Venus's ethereal drifting clouds. The extent of their success in this remarkable endeavor remains shrouded in uncertainty, as much of their exact findings remained hidden from the world due to the economic struggles endured from 1975 to 1984. The USSR's economy hit a wall, making them reconsider their stance on the space race. As their financial woes mounted, they had to put their space ambitions on the back burner. This slowdown opened the door for the United States to step in. Surprisingly, before the USSR's decline, they had made significant strides in exploring other planets. What's fascinating is that some modern scientists are challenging the belief that Venus is a barren wasteland. There's a growing notion that Venus might have once been hospitable to life. NASA even suggested that Venus had an oceanic past, hinting at the possibility of alien life there. Scientists had high hopes for Venus because it shares many similarities with Earth. But Venus's thick, toxic atmosphere was a major letdown. Then in 2020, NASA dropped a bombshell. They found phosphine on Venus. Phosphine is a stinky and flammable gas that would usually spell doom for organisms that rely on oxygen. Strangely, this gas is the most compelling hint of potential alien life. It's naturally produced by certain bacteria that thrive in oxygen-starved places like landfills, marshlands, and even animal guts. This discovery stirred both controversy and excitement among scientists. The Soviets had been obsessed with discovering something groundbreaking on Venus for decades, perhaps guided by gut feelings or solid data. After 2022, the presence of phosphine on this infernal planet became a hot topic among planetary scientists. Neil deGrasse Tyson, a leading advocate for the hunt for habitable planets, couldn't contain his excitement when discussing this groundbreaking discovery with astrobiologist David Grinspoon. Picture this: floating cities on Venus, which might initially sound utterly absurd, but here's the crux of the matter. It's all about assessing a planet's potential to be a hospitable home for life, looking beyond just its outer shell. Right now, scientists are on a cosmic scavenger hunt across countless exoplanets, relentlessly seeking signs of extraterrestrial life. Enter Venus and the discovery of phosphine. This discovery has injected a hearty dose of devotion and opened up new views in our quest to find life forms beyond our cozy Earth. It's worth noting that our current spacefaring tech and the mind-boggling expanses of the universe make sending quick missions to these far-off exoplanets a real head-scratcher. However, peering into a planet's atmosphere can be like peering into a crystal ball, offering us precious insights into whether it's a candidate for life. Tyson is firmly convinced that the detection of phosphine has set off a dazzling new era of astronomers' allure with Venus. This is where the Soviet Venera missions come into play, giving us a valuable head start in decoding the enigma that is Venus. And it's not just the Soviets. NASA and other intrepid space agencies are on a relentless quest for the elusive astrobiological entities lurking within Venus's enigmatic folds. Declassified photos from the Venera missions offer intriguing hints, almost like snapshots of a possible meeting with living organisms during the daring Venera 13 mission. The universe, it seems, still has many secrets waiting to be unveiled. Dr. Sen, a distinguished senior researcher who led the laboratory specializing in photometry and thermal radiometry at the Russian Academy of Sciences, played a pivotal role in an astonishing space discovery. His groundbreaking research paper uncovered a surprising twist in the Venera 13 mission. Contrary to what was initially believed, this mission wasn't just about a smooth landing on Venus. It held the secrets of enigmatic objects that bore the hallmarks of living organisms. These revelations were concealed for decades, shrouded in secrecy, hidden away from the prying eyes of the world. It's been speculated that this secrecy was maintained to prevent any potential interference from the resource-rich American Space Agency. They guarded their findings like a treasure, protecting their historic discovery. In reality, Venera 13 had successfully touched down on Venus in the challenging terrain of Novka Planitia within the eastern expanse of Phoebe Reggio. Remarkably, this mission endured for an astonishing 127 minutes, beaming back high-resolution images of Venus's enigmatic surface. A diligent researcher meticulously reanalyzed the images captured by Venera 13's cameras, V131 and V13-2. In his own words, he uncovered several sizable anomalies, ranging in size from mere decimeters to half a meter. These peculiarities manifested in certain frames but seemed to vanish or transform in others. Among these enigmas, 3 stood out distinctly. The first resembled a disc-shaped entity that responded curiously to fluctuations in temperature and pressure as if it possessed inherent attention. The second anomaly, initially appearing as a formless black mass during the mission's initial 13 minutes, revealed itself as a vertically elongated enigma of truly bizarre proportions. Astonishingly, this mysterious black entity vanished from sight, nowhere to be found in images captured during the 27th and 36th minutes. However, the most awe-inspiring revelation was yet to come. Around the 90th minute of the mission, an extraterrestrial apparition appeared in the images, a scorpion-like creature, unlike anything ever witnessed on Earth. Unclassified photos depicted this unearthly arachnid as it roamed the infernal surface of Venus, its origins shrouded in impenetrable mystery. Could this creature be of alien or astrobiological nature? The question ignited the fires of imagination and curiosity. These resurfaced images have rekindled the flames of interest in space exploration, especially within the Russian space agency, Roscosmos. In this new era of space exploration, Moscow proudly claims Venus as its own, a celestial sibling waiting to be explored. By 2029, they plan to mount a conclusive mission, venturing to explore the mysteries of Venus up close and personal.